Everyone, welcome to this tutorial. My name is Hamid Keita, and I'm a maths instructor from Tohono Community College. So today our topic is $1 trillion of student loan. And this is part of your collaboration for N.3, $1 trillion of student loan. And in this lesson, we're going to explore student loan repayment through estimation strategies and understanding how loan terms like interest rate and duration impact your monthly payments and the total amount you will repay. So why is this collaboration important? With over $1 trillion in student loan, there is need to have a good understanding of how the process work, how loans work. And in this lesson, we will help you estimate monthly payment, assess the impact of interest, and make informed financial decisions about borrowing. So why is estimation important? Estimation helps you to assess the affordability of a loan. It helps you to avoid being misled by overly complex financial offers and help you build financial literacy and confidence in personal decision making. So key concept we will learn here today is estimating monthly loan payments without calculator, understanding simple interest, and comparing total repayment amounts. So as part of this collaboration, we will walk you through real-world loan problem examples, step by step. So here's our first real-world problem situation one, how to estimate costs. And we're going to base our work example on this situation here. Melinda wants to buy a car and borrows $12,000. And she has two loan options available, okay? Both are 5% APR, but different length, okay? So option one, 5% APR, 12,000 principal. The length is 3 years. And the second option with the same condition, 12,000 amount borrowed, 5% APR. The second option is 6 years loan. So we are going to make some estimation here. First, we're gonna break it down step by step. And the first thing we want to do here is to go through the problem without any interest. Let's assume there's no interest charge. How much is going to be the monthly payment using the two loan option? The only difference here is the loan length, okay, 3 years and 6 years. So if we go with the 3-year loan, how much is going to be our monthly payment? Okay, so first we have to figure out how many months are in a year, which is 12. Then in 3 years, how many months are we talking about? So that's 36 months, 12 times 3, 36. Okay, so now you know that there are 36 months in 3 years, and the amount we borrow is 12,000, or the amount Melinda borrow is 12,000. We are assuming that there's no interest charge. Okay, so there's no interest charge. So how much would be the monthly payment? Well, we're going to see 12,000 divided by 33, which is the total number of months in 3 years, divided by the total amount we Melinda borrowed. So that gives you 333.33, no interest. If we go with the 6-year loan option, we have 72 months in 6 years. So 6 times 12, that's 72. So the same principal, 12,000 we borrowed, or Melinda borrowed, we divided by 72 months. That's going to give us $166.67 per month. So the option here with the 6 years and the three year, you can see with the 3 year, you are paying more per month. In the 6 year loan term, you are paying less per month. This is without accounting for the interest, but it just gives you a rough idea or a rough way to estimate, like ballpark payment that you should be expecting when you choose this option. So just running quick numbers to see where the monthly payment would fall can be very helpful in deciding between these loan options. So step two, we can do the same calculation, but we have to account for the interest because there's a 5% interest, okay? There's a 5% interest, so we have to make sure that we have to make sure that we are accounting for the interest. So to calculate a simple interest is equal to principal times rate times time. Okay, and the principal in our situation here is 12,000. That's the amount of money Melinda borrowed to get the car, and the rate is 5% APR, the annual percentage rate. So 5% is the same as 5 divided by 100, so that's why we have the 0.05. That's the rate, and the time is either 3 years or 6 years, because we have those two options, and we're gonna calculate for both, and that way we can compare the two options. So if we start with the 3 years, it's the same interest, so 12,000 principal times 0.05, which is the 5% interest, so 5 divided by 100 gives you 0.05, times 3 years. That gives us 1,800, okay? So 1,800 is the amount of monthly payment we will pay if we choose the, this is the amount of interest, okay? Because we're calculating for interest. This is the amount of interest you will pay in that 3-year option, okay? That's your interest for 3 years. And if we try to calculate the 6-year with interest, we're going to see the 12,000 principal times 0.05 again, which is the interest, which we got by the 5% divided by 100. So 0.05 times 6 years, that's 3,600 in interest in 6 years. Okay, so this is the total interest you'll pay in 6 years, and 1,800 is the interest you'll pay in 3 years. So based on that calculation, that gives you a good idea which option you want to choose, because if you go with the 3 years, you'll end up paying extra 1,800 on interest. If you go with the 6 years, you'll pay 3,600 on interest. But we also saw that the monthly payments is low for the 6 month compared to the 3 year. So let's calculate how much our monthly payment is going to be with the interest. So while for the 3 year, we borrowed 12,000, and in 3 years, we're going to be paying 1,800 in interest, divided by 36. 36 is the number of months in 3 years. So that's basically 13,800 divided by 36. So that's $383.33 per month. This is what you will pay every month for 3 years in order to pay off your 12,000 in principal and also the interest. If you choose the 6-year loan, you will pay you'll pay back 12,000 you borrowed plus the 3,600 in interest that um, you need to pay in 6 years. So if you want to know how much the monthly payment in 6 years, in the 6-year loan would be, we will divide it by 72 because that's the total number of months in 6 years. So that's 15,600 divided by 72. That gives us 216.67. So, so you'll have to make a decision here. 383.33 is definitely higher than 216 per month. So if you're concerned about your monthly payment, then you would probably consider the 216 and pay more interest overall, but your monthly payment is going to be lower. Or if you want to pay this off as quickly as possible and pay less in interest overall, you'll go with the 3 years, but your monthly payment will be higher. Okay, so these are some of the decisions you have to make after um, running the numbers, and you're able to compare the interest and the total amount you pay in each case. So let's look at the total repayment estimate. Like, how much are you repaying in total? So you're paying 383.33 every month in your 3-year loan for 36 months. So that's 13,800. Okay. You borrow 12,000, you're paying 13,800. In the 6-year loan, you're paying 216.67 in 6 years, which is 72 months. So times 72, that's 15,600. So you borrow 12,000, you're repaying 15,600. Okay, so we can clearly see the difference the interest is playing here. Less interest in the 3-year loan, more interest in the 6-year loan, but your monthly payment for your 6-year loan is lower. Monthly payment for your 3-year loan is shorter, but you're gonna be paying off this loan faster in your 3-year loan option. So if you want to know the exact interest you pay, you could say, well, in my 3-year interest is 13,800 in total. That's what I pay. And I borrowed 12,000. So 13,800 minus 12,000 is going to give you 1,800. In your 6-year interest, you pay in total 15,600, and you only borrowed 12,000. So 12,000 minus your 15,000 minus your 12,000 would be 3,600. Okay, so just to show you different ways to figure out how much interest you pay, how much monthly payment, and that will allow you to compare the two options and see which one work best for you in your situation. So based on what we just discussed, if you were to advise Melinda on the analysis based on the numbers, we will tell Melinda that, well, for the 3-year loan, she will save money in the long run, but will pay about 1,800 in interest compared to 3,600 for the 6-year loan. However, her monthly payment would be higher, about 383 for the 3-year loan compared to 217 for the 6-year loan. So if she can afford higher monthly payment, then I think the 3-year loan is a better financial option. But you also have to remember that, cars, they are depreciating assets, so their value goes down over time. So if you choose a longer period of time to pay, by the time you pay it off, the value of your car might be significantly lower. So just to keep that in mind. So extended payment can lead you to um, have a car that is much more lower in value than what you pay. So even if you want to sell the car, you can only sell it for a very little. While if you, let's say, just pay it off quickly and something happened, you want to sell it, you can still sell it, at a higher price. Let's say, after 3 years, you want to sell it, maybe the price of the car would be, I don't know, maybe, 9,000 or 8,000. But if you wait for 6 years and you pay it off around 6 years, something happened, you want to sell the car, maybe the price has gone down by a lot. Maybe you can only sell it for like 5,000. Okay. So, if you pay it off in 3 years and you want to sell it, you can recoup some of the money you already pay by selling it and getting some cash back. But with longer payment, by the time you finish paying and you want to sell it, the car has depreciated so much that the value is nowhere near what you bought it, excuse me. Okay, so let's move on to a work example. So work example number 4, estimating loan payments for college tuition. This is a simple one. Let's say your loan is $20,000 and the interest rate is 4%, and the term, which is the length of time you need to pay this loan, is 10 years. How do we estimate this payment? We can quickly estimate without interest. So 20,000, and you want to pay that in 10 years. So 12 months in a year. So 12 times 10 is 120. So 20,000 divided by 120 is 166.67. Okay, so that's what you pay if you were to pay the 20,000 in 10 years without interest. So with the 4% interest, we're going to say 20 times APR. So the principal times rate times time. The rate is 4%, so 4 divided by 100 is 0.04. So 20 times 0.04 times 10, that's 8,000. So that's the interest, okay, in 10 years. So the interest plus the principal is 20,000 plus 8,000, that's 28,000. So you divide that by 120 months, so that's going to give you 233.23, which means that with the 4% interest, you will be paying 233.33 per month. Okay, so you can see how much difference the interest is making. If you're just paying the principal, you're just paying 166 per month. With the interest is 233.33 per month. So let's move on to example 2. Let's compare student A versus student B loan term. So let's say both students borrow 10,000 at 6% interest rate, and student A repays in 5 years, student B repays in 10 years. Okay, so the interest rate is the same. For student A, it's going to be 10,000 times 0.06 times 5 years, okay? And that's 3,000. And interest for student B is going to be 10,000 times 0.06 times 10. the 6,000 in interest. The total amount you pay is the principal, which is 10,000 plus the interest, the total interest. So for student A will pay a total of 13,000, which is the 10,000 borrowed plus the 3,000 interest in 5 years. For student B, they will still pay the 10,000 and they will pay the 6,000 in total interest. So that's 16,000. Okay. So which boils down to um, how much you want to pay per month, your monthly payment. If you're concerned about monthly payment, you want the lowest monthly payment, then you probably choose longer term so that it takes you more time to pay. But remember, you're going to be paying more in interest. So if you double the amount of year it takes you to pay, you probably pay double the amount in interest. Okay. So in this situation, um, students A is going to pay 13,000, student B is going to pay 6,000 on the same amount they borrowed, but they are paying it over different length of time. So shorter time mean less interest paid, which is very important in dealing with these loans which involve interest and loan terms. Example 3, we're going to look at monthly budget estimate. Okay. So let's say you have a monthly budget, I want to pay this amount per month, nothing more. Um, so let's say monthly student loan payment is estimated at 300, and the other expenses, including rent, food, transportation, is 800 for rent, 400 for food, transportation is 150. So your total expense is, all these food, rent, plus your transportation, plus your student loan payment. So your total expense is 1,650. Okay, so that's what you have to pay no matter what every month. So the leftover, if this is your income, 2,500, we're just making some, budget estimate here. You're earning 2,500 and your total expense is 1,650. How much are you left with after your total expense? So 2,500 minus 1,650 gives you 850. Um, so with this, you can afford, let's say this student loan payment is $300. You can include it in your monthly expense and you will still have $850 left. But you can go and take a loan that would balloon your monthly expenses more than what you earn. That's not going to be good because you're going to be digging deeper in debt. So you want to make sure um, you are spending less than you earn. So your earnings should be more so that you save a little bit and use that for emergency situation. Um, so your income should be higher than your total expense. That's what we target if you're doing budget estimate. Example number 4, underestimate or overestimate. Estimate the interest on 5,000 over 4 years at 5%. So we borrow 5,000 at 5%, so 0.05 times 4, which is 4 years, so that's $1,000. And If this is compounded monthly, actual increase will be more than this. So your estimate is underestimate. Okay, so the interest here we are calculating is 4 years. But if you accumulate interest every month and next month you're gonna compound that. For example, if you borrow this 5,000 and the APR 4 years is the interest paid for 4 years. If this is applying like monthly, let's say that 4 years you divide by the number of years in that 4 years, you divide by the number of months in that 4 years, so that every month there is an interest that you need to pay throughout that 4 years, you will see that the interest will compound. Okay, so let's say your first 3 months you pay additional interest of $30. So that $30 is going to be added to this 5,000. Okay, instead of paying interest on this 5,000, you're going to be paying interest on the $5,030. Okay, so that's going to accumulate. So instead of just paying $1,000 in interest, it's going to be more. So that's what compounding means. Try it yourself. So these are some examples that you can try yourself. We walk through similar example. For example, try it yourself. Question number 1, estimate the monthly payment for 15,000 student loan at 6% interest over 10 years. And also estimate the total interest paid on a $25,000 loan at 5% over 5 years. If you borrow 8,000 at 4% over 4 years, what is the total repayment plan? So make sure you pause this video, walk through those examples, and see what your answers are. So to wrap up here, our key takeaway is that shorter loans means less interest paid, but your monthly payments are probably going to be higher. Your ability to estimate these kind of numbers help you to assess affordability quickly. Interest adds up significantly over time as you see the different terms, the 6-year term, the 3-year term. You can see how much the interest accumulates over a longer period of time. So real world application of this topic is financial aid planning. If you're buying car, if you're buying home, you talk about mortgage, interest rate, student loan, what interest are you borrowing those loans at? Or if you're just doing some budgeting, you want to make some credit card decision, you're using some credit card, they have different interests. So you want to make sure you are educated about how interest work before you take a loan or get certain type of credit card. Thank you very much for watching. And if you have any comment, make sure you leave it in the comment sections, and I'll be happy to reply. Thank you very much once again.